Hey everyone, it's Jack from Cultaholic.com and it's time to look at what happened at Wrestle Kingdom 12. No, we're not coming up with a similar title to a previously named show, not at all. We're going to be looking at each of the matches, go through a little bit of what occurred in Tokyo, and then I'll give a general roundup of my personal thoughts on the show. If you're a new viewer of New Japan, hopefully you really enjoyed it if you've watched it already, and if you haven't, please bear in mind that from this point on there will be spoilers. Also, it's probably important to note that mine and Sam's predictions will be up soon this week, and also our lovely punishment. The loser of our predictions had to take 3 kendo stick shots to the back, and we drew, so we're both gonna have to do it. Yeah, get in. Really looking forward to that one. So first of all, let's talk about the main event of the show, Kazuchika Okada versus Tetsuya Naito. Pretty much everyone thought in the build to this, or at least most people thought, that Naito was going to win, that this was his moment. He had a momentum behind him like never before. He was the cool anti-hero. He was going to dethrone Okada as the ace of the company. And if you've seen the show, you'll know that's not exactly quite how it turned out, is it? After a grueling 35-40 minute match, Okada was able to win, and immediately there was a little backlash online. There wasn't one last year when he beat Kenny Omega, but there was one this year slightly. People are saying that Gedo, the head booker of New Japan, is protecting his boy. He's making him too much of a strong figure. He's already the longest reigning IWGP heavyweight champion in history. And this is just another win where perhaps he could have lost to a more popular, more momentum-backed opponent. I disagree. I think that no matter who won this match, there was a compelling story going forwards. Now, it's all about, can Naito redeem himself? Who will Okada face next? Who will he face at next year's Wrestle Kingdom? Will it be Naito again? Will it be Omega? Will it be his old foe, Tanahashi? There's so many possibilities that New Japan could go with. And I think it's really a testament to New Japan that this was such an unpredictable main event in the end. Like, no matter who won, you could make a case for both. Ultimately though, it was Okada who won. You could say that Naito almost tried to do too much. He didn't look quite as tranquilo or chilled as he normally does. He was more frantic, a little bit nervous at times, and maybe tried to hit too many finishers. He kept heading to the top rope to hit his old finisher and never connected with it. So could it have been his own desperation that really got in his way? It's a very compelling story indeed. In terms of match quality, I wouldn't say this was actually the best match on the show, although I could totally understand if you disagreed. I don't think it topped last year's match between Okada and Omega, which was landscape shifting, but I do think it was still very, very good indeed, and told a very important story. Next up, the match that I think most new viewers tuned in for, Kenny Omega versus Chris Jericho. This match surpassed my expectations thoroughly. It went longer than I thought, it was better than I thought, and it was in the end more unpredictable than I thought. I did think Omega would win, but midway through the match I was changing my mind every few moves. I thought, no, Jericho's going to pull this one out. It went about 35 minutes, which I think is far longer than we thought Chris Jericho could go at that level against such a frenzied, stamina based opponent like Omega. And it was just, man, it was the most WWE style match on the show, but it was a good WWE style match. This was like a wild no DQ brawl, but without ever really relying too much on the stipulation. They more used it to their advantage rather than be hamstrung or limited by it. And I think the big takeaway for me from this show is that Chris Jericho is a boss and is far better than I thought he was at this stage of his career. He can still go. He can definitely still go. And Omega, of course, is as brilliant as ever. Next up, Tanahashi versus Switchblade Jay White. This match slightly disappointed me a little bit. It was still good, but Tanahashi matches are usually show stealers at Wrestle Kingdom, and this one wasn't so much of one. However, he was against a relatively inexperienced opponent in Jay White, very talented one, and he definitely showed that off. But it wasn't quite on the same level as the previous 2 matches, or even some of the matches below it on the card. But still, Tanahashi picked up the victory, and this is all going to be about Jay White going forward, I think. It's going to be about, can he redeem himself? How can he harness the anger that he displayed in the match and use it to his advantage? And maybe he'll get a successful rematch at Tanahashi in the near future. Next up, as well as Jericho Omega, maybe my favourite match on the show, the 4-way for the Junior Heavyweight Championship, Marty Scurll, Will Ospreay, Takahashi and Kushida. They just did some They're just stupid. They did some stupid things. If I was their mother, I would be very, very disappointed indeed. I think the most memorable moment of the match for me was either when they brawled to the outside past the crowd barrier, Ospreay scaled the scaffold and then did a big moonsault off on everyone else. A beautiful moonsault, by the way. It was like prime Kurt Angle, but from a higher platform, and also he hit it, which Angle never seemed to do. That was a memorable moment. Also, Takahashi just going crazy and hitting consecutive sunset bombs to the outside on two of his opponents. It looked like he'd actually killed Marty Scurll at one point. His head went in between two parts of the guardrail. Somehow he was alive and okay after it. But this was a breathless, wonderful match, and I'd highly, highly recommend you check it out if you didn't already. I can't quite decide yet whether this was my favorite or Jericho Omega, but it was certainly one of the two. And congratulations to Will Ospreay for regaining the Junior Heavyweight Championship, which he recently lost to Scurll as well. A wise booking decision, I think. Next up, a match that really, surprised me with how good it was. Personally, I kind of secretly expected this to be a bit of a lull on the card, and it really, really wasn't. Hiroki Goto versus Minoru Suzuki, hair versus hair for the Never Openweight Championship. This match reminded me how good Goto is. Goto is one of those guys in New Japan who isn't as strong a personality as many of the others and isn't quite as badass or successful in terms of results as the other guys. He often is the Nelly man. He often comes close and then loses. In this match, first of all, he beat Minoru Suzuki. Huge scalp to take, literally a huge scalp to take, because Minoru Suzuki shaved his own head afterwards. But also, this match was like I'd say the most carefully constructed story of the night, with Suzuki taking immediate advantage, choking out Goto, and then trying to defeat a very weak Goto throughout the match. Goto hit one of the most impressive moves I think I've ever seen, in terms of strength and technical ability, where he had Suzuki on his shoulders, jumped off the middle rope and dropped him across his knee without harming him in real life. I don't know what sort of strength and technique that takes, but I imagine it's unbelievable. Also really cool to see Suzuki displaying a sort of heelish, babyface, or more honourable tendencies at the end of the match, pushing away his stablemates and refusing to flee the stipulation. He honoured it and he remained proud. He didn't let go to shave his head, he shaved it himself. Continuing to move backwards in the card, Evil and Sonata defeated Killer Elite Squad. They're the new tag team champions in a match where Killer Elite Squad were just horrible, dastardly heels. I think Lance Archer must have used about 10 water bottles during his entrance, just throwing them and spitting them on the crowd. It was quite disgusting, but the two LIJ members triumphed and captured the belts after a compelling match. I think this showed that Sonata is a breakout star this year. It could be a huge 2018 for him. Cody Rhodes lost to Kota Ibushi, a result I think many of us expected since Cody lost his Ring of Honor Championship in December, but the match was a brilliant one. It included a crossroads off the apron to the floor, which dropped Ibushi on his head and neck, a terrifying spot, but one which really played into the whole kind of desperation and increasing madness of Cody. He's looking increasingly unhinged as the weeks go on. There was also a really cool spot where Ibushi jumped into a crossbody, like a springboard crossbody, onto both Cody and Brandy Rhodes. Brandy pretended to be hurt. Ibushi was like, oh no, what do I do? And then Cody came in and jumped him, and Brandy smiled. She wasn't really hurt, she was playing possum. But Ibushi gets the win, and hopefully he moves into a feud with his old tag team partner, Kenny Omega. In the six-man tag match, Chaos are the new six-man, never six-man tag team champions, or whatever. It's too many words, Japan. Too many words. No, they are the new six-man tag team champions, represented by Beretta, Ishii, and Toru Yano, of course, who rolled up two opponents in the match, eliminating two teams. He is truly the MVP. But no, the spotlight here was all on Beretta, who is branching out as a single star and who picked up the pinfall for his team. Very good stuff. Beretta, he's charismatic, he's cool, and hopefully we get Chuck Taylor back because he's just hilarious. And they're best friends. And in the opening match of the main show, the Young Bucks defeated Roppongi 3K to seize the junior heavyweight tag team titles in genuinely one of my favorite matches on the card. It was a very hot opener and a very clever one where, even though it featured two very agile, very nimble teams, it also featured a lot of tactics and submissions. It was truly a joy to watch and a brilliant introduction for any new fans who were just tuning into the show. Overall, I think this Wrestle Kingdom wasn't as good as last year's, to be honest, but that doesn't mean it was a bad show by any stretch of the imagination. I still think it was very, very good indeed. Well worth a watch if you haven't already. Maybe break it up into sections though, because it was very long and I'm pretty tired right now, but it was certainly a wonderful show. My favorite match, I think, I'll give it to Jericho and Omega. closely followed by the four-way match for the Junior Heavyweight Championship, but nothing on this show was bad. It was good to great from top to bottom. So well done New Japan, and well done Wrestle Kingdom 12. Let us know what you thought of the show in the comments section down below, or tweet us at Cultaholic. You can follow me at Jack the Jobber if you wish, and please do check out our Patreon as well, where there's a system of tiered rewards if you enjoy what we do. Anything you decide to donate would be greatly appreciated and will be reinvested back into the business to provide more content for you. And do not forget, of course, never forget to join us. Thank you very much.